When UVI enters the room, we pay attention because they make high quality software. And they just dropped this new gem called OPAL. And it's not just another LA-2A plugin emulation. This is set to be the new benchmark for optical compression in the box, with 7 different analog units modeled using extreme accurate physical modeling. Let's take a listen. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixFest TV. Hope you guys are having a great day. Before we start, check the info box down below for my mixing courses on Pro Mix Academy, free plugins, special discounts and offers. And of course, if you really want to learn how to mix and master professionally, click the join button down here, become a MixFest TV member, access all the exclusive mix and mastering courses start to finish on many different genres. With the new EDM series recently added, you can also buy the courses individually if you can't or don't want to sign up for the membership. And if you like the content, please consider using the super thanks or grab some merch. Let's get to the video. Here's our beautiful, slick interface for the new OPAL by UVI. Like I said, this is not just another LA-2A plugin emulation. This thing is packed with modern features that make this compressor much more usable and much better suited for modern music. Let's start with our controls. We have an input gain, a peak reduction knob, a makeup gain, just like the original LA-2A. But the key of this plugin, besides the 7 units that have been modeled, are the added features. And we start with the mix knob here on the top right, the responsiveness knob. This is probably my favorite function. Think of this in layman terms, and you will understand this function much better when I start doing examples, as a general control for how fast or how slow the behavior of the compressor is. Every time that I want the LA-2A squeeze and character, but I end up not using it, it's because it's usually too slow. This control here makes the LA-2A style compression so much more versatile. You will see it in a second. Then we have the compressor limiter toggle switch. We have a link mode for the sidechain. You can see you can run it unlinked. You can get your sidechain signal from the left, from the right, from the mono channel or max channel, which is the higher in level. Then we have the mid presence knob. This also helps you shape the sidechain and what the compressor reacts to. We have a treble switch off on. You will hear in a minute what it does. And then we have the tube simulation with its drive control. So you'll hear you can dose how much tube distortion and saturation you want in the track, or you can take this stage off altogether. And then below here, you can see now we have the visual representation of our waveform with the amount of compression that we are applying. And you can decide, if you don't want this to distract you, to hide it with this button up top right. But the biggest innovation here is the model menu up top here. You can see they modeled using an extremely accurate physical modeling technology 7 different LA-2A units. And UVI searched around the world to get the best or the more unique and characteristic LA-2A units to model. In fact, you can see here, each unit has a different compression curve that you can see here in the second row, and also a different attack and release curves. This is because they picked units with different T4 optocells so that we have a variety of different attack and release and compression curves. You can see here the visual representation. And while the LA-2A is mostly known for being a vocal compressor or bass, I will also try it on drum because that's much easier for you to understand and hear the different attack and release and what they do and how they affect the behavior of the compressor. Without further ado, let's start. I'm gonna start with no extra features. Right now, I'm just gonna scroll through the models. And specifically, I'm not touching the responsiveness or the mid presence.
Let me remind you, you've always been the villain. That's just who you are. Nice suit, nice words doesn't change your heart. So go pretend with someone new. I already knew you, I'll always know the truth. So is this the plan of how it goes? Because if so, just let me go.
All right, so classic LA-2A style squeeze, and we hear immediately how this compressor, differently from others, doesn't trick you with the instant at the top end. It actually kind of smooths out the top end a little bit, and it adds a lot of body to the vocals. For now, I really just want to focus on the models. So take a listen and a look at how the gain reduction changes, specifically the attack and release.
Let me remind you, you've always been the villain. That's just who you are. Nice suit, nice words, doesn't change your heart. So go pretend with someone new. I already knew you, I'll always know the truth. So is this the plan of how it goes? Because if so, just let me go. Let me remind you, you've always been the villain. That's just who you are. Nice suit, nice words, doesn't change your heart. So go pretend with someone new. I already knew you, I'll always know the truth.
So you hear different type of grab and different type of release. If we go to the vintage one, the smoother and longer release, listen to it.
Let me remind you, you've always been the villain. That's just who you are. Nice suit, nice words, doesn't change your heart.
And we compare it with the sharp. You see how much faster and more reactive it is. So let's do that again. Vintage.
Let me remind you, you've always been the villain. That's just who you are. Nice suit, nice words, doesn't change your heart. So go pretend with someone new. I already knew you, I'll always know the truth.
All right, so very, very cool. This gives you so much versatility. Let's go and push the drive so you can hear the distortion and the saturation it has.
Let me remind you, you've always been the villain. That's just who you are. Nice suit, nice words, doesn't change your heart. So go pretend with someone new. I already knew you, I'll always know the truth. So is this the plan of how it goes? Because if so, just let me go.
And of course, I'm exaggerating so you can really hear the action. You hear how gradual and dynamic the saturation is. I have this bit here, which is a little hotter. I'm going to boost it a little more so we can hear it overdrive.
I don't wanna live in your land of fake fairy tale. You paint over wounds, cover all the scars, no wonder. I don't wanna live in your land of fake fairy tale. You paint over wounds, cover all the scars, no wonder we failed. You don't remember who we really are.
Okay, so you want to run it clean, you turn it off, you want more tube saturation, you can drive it and you can drive it as much as you want. Then let's start with the mid-presence, our sidechain EQ, to tailor the action of the compression in a different way. Look at the gain reduction. I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit.
I don't wanna live in your land of fake fairy tale. You paint over wounds, cover all the scars, no wonder we failed. You don't remember who we really are. You can't remember who made all these scars.
Okay, so you hear with the mid-presence at 0, we have the classic LA-2A super squeeze. You hear that by moving the mid-presence higher, sweet spot being probably around 50%, you kind of ease out this super squeeze on the vocals, which is an effect and has been used on countless records, but sometimes you want a little less of that. And it's great to have this control on the plugin because it really allows you to tailor the behavior of the compressor to better fit the track. I'm gonna leave this one around here 9 o'clock for now, and I'm gonna start playing with the responsiveness. And right now I'm using the New York Custom, one of my favorite models, which has a mid release for the curve. It's not too steep, it's not as long and slow as the vintage, so you can really see the difference in responsiveness. So let's start.
I don't wanna live in your land of fake fairy tale. You paint over wounds, cover all the scars, no wonder we failed. You don't remember who we really are. You can't remember who made all these scars.
As we go counterclockwise, the compressor becomes slower and reacts and acts more like a leveler. If I turn it clockwise, it gets much faster. All these controls paired with the 7 models, and you literally have the most comprehensive and versatile LA-2A style compressor in a plugin. Let's go and try on different sources. Acoustic guitar is going to be a good one. Perfect example. On a track like this, very dynamic, a lot of really tall spikes. If I want the 2A style compression, here you can hear that it's kind of jerking a little too much. And when the tall spikes hit the detector, it goes down too much, it's too slow coming back, and I would be forced to use a different compressor. I can do 2 things here. I can pick one of the fastest release, or I can play with the responsiveness. Now you also hear much better what the treble switch does. It just rolls off all that top end, which is a special effect. That's why it's by default on, but you have this function if you want to really go for the old vintage dried capacitors kind of model. Okay, same thing. You want a different type of attack for this acoustic guitar. Picking the vintage has a much rounder attack. I'm just playing with this control so you can really see the interaction between the mid presence and the amount of gain reduction, which you will have to readjust with the peak reduction knob, because as you move the mid presence clockwise, you will grab less, especially on an element like this, which has a lot of mid-range. As I promised, let's try on drums really quick, because it's going to be much easier for you to hear all the different models and how they react. Okay, so you get the idea, and the visual representation of the curve definitely helps you if you are at the beginning to understand what to listen for. The two New Yorks really are probably my two favorite, although the neat and sharp, when I want something faster, are really good. The Velvet, it's really great for vocals, one of my favorites, along with the two New York. But again, I want to play with the responsiveness on this one. Okay, this is very self-explanatory. You can hear as I turn it clockwise, attack and release become faster and the compressor is more responsive. As I turn it counterclockwise, both attack and release are slower. And this is unseen on an LA-2A before. Like, you couldn't do this snappy drums, if I put it this way. With an LA-2A, and also notice how we can hear it very well here. Even if I'm driving the tube stage to oblivion, it never gets too bright and sharp at the top. Pay attention to it. I'm gonna go from 0 to all the way up. It actually the opposite, past the point of no return, meaning too much drive. We have this really nice roll off at the top end and more added low end grit and dirt. I love this plugin. It really makes the LA-2A style compression up to date in 2023 and beyond. Let's go for bass. I think it's the first time that I can drive a tube emulation stage all the way up on a bass without hearing the nasty distortion. That's pretty impressive. I really like this thing. It's basically a 2A, so besides the added features, we got only two knobs. That's what it does. There's not much to say, but I think you should get this plugin. It will probably replace any LA-2A plugin that you have with the 7 different models. There's not going to be a vocal in which you say, that's not the right one, because between the models and the responsiveness, this is really a workhorse, which the 2A isn't. Let's do a male vocal last.
You make it hard, I want to stop and stare behind those eyes. What else you got in there? 'Cause you make me feel like I should learn to stop time. I will give you this life that I'm in if you show me the other side. I stand outside in the rain. I'll take the physical pain. At the end of the day, the girl's what I want.
I really love the Velvet with the responsiveness on the faster side. Really like that curve. You notice there's kind of a substantial difference in the way the curve is applied from other 2As plugins. There are good ones out there. I don't know, this one has something about the mid-range that really reminds me more of the grab that my hardware has.
You see this world that we're living in? I see all other life just giving in 'cause of you. You're so hot that you could turn sun blind. On the mysteries of love and fear.
And you hear how the drive, especially if you push it, it smooths out the top end. So if you have vocals that were recorded too bright with a too bright of a mic, that can really help you. If you're running without the tube simulation or with less drive, you have this much more open sound.
You see this world that we're living in? I see all other life just giving in 'cause of you. You're so hot that you could turn sun blind. On the mysteries of love and fear. She's got me working through the night.
It's nice.
I'll take the fortune and fame. Don't need the critics' acclaim. At the end of the day, the girl's what I want.
It's so cool to switch between the models and have a completely different behavior, especially the release curve. The tech also, but the release, it really changes the vibe, and it goes, especially with the responsiveness, faster in almost 1176 territory because of how fast it can get. It's really cool. Maybe it's not what you want from the 2A, but all you need to do is to leave the responsiveness where is it, or make it even slower if you want. But the point is you have 7 different models with obviously 7 different opto cells, because the opto cells is what controls the attack and release and the curve of the compression. And I think this is it for this video. I think UVI gave us another gem of a plugin like they did before with the previous releases. This was OPAL. The link is going to be in the info box down below. Let me know, guys, what you think in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay safe. See you next time.